Hello everybody and welcome back to our Origin Summer Preview 2017. I'm trying to be louder than that guy, and I think I'm doing a good job. So we're gonna keep on rolling. I've got Alex here from Mayfair Games. How you doing, Alex?
Very good, how are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm louder than that guy, and we're gonna be taking a look at this game here called Nusfjord.
Nusfjord, yes.
Nusfjord.
So right now, the hope is this is going to be our Uwe Rosenberg game for Essen this year. So this is kind of a big preview. We're showing a little bit here. We'll be showing a little bit more at Gen Con, but we're really pretty excited about this one.
Excellent.
It's a little on the lighter side for kind of the Uwe game,
okay,
with having all of Uwe's signature worker placement sort of touches.
Okay.
And another little quirk, which we'll get to here a little later. But so this is kind of all the bits and pieces for the game. It's laid out. This is a single player's pieces, though. We have a mat for them, which is where you're going to be building your buildings and deforesting in order to build more and gain some wood as we go along.
Got it.
We have a little strip here, which is where we're going to keep the elders that we are currently helping us to get things done.
Got it.
And over here we have our little chart, which shows our fishing boats and how much fish we're going to be able to catch each turn.
Got it.
Over here I've got a little personal supply. We're going to keep some stuff. 3 resources in the game. We've got money, we've got wood, and we have fish. And that's pretty much
just
what we're doing on here. Yep.
That's like a kid's game from movie.
So we have our 3 workers here that we're going to be able to put out on a turn, and the game will last 7 rounds.
Okay.
So they'll have these little handy things that will tell us. So for example, this player is going first in the first round, and you can look around and see who's going to go first in each round as well, just to kind of make sure you've got a sense of what's going on.
Got it.
So the game itself flows pretty easily. The first thing that will happen on every round is you're going to get fish based on how many boats you have out right now. Based on the boats, we're getting 6 fish.
Okay.
So I would get 6 fish from the supply, and I say, all right, well, I have some things I have to do with it. So first off, I have to feed elders. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, all right, of my 6 fish, 1 of them goes on the elder here that I've hired. Next thing I'm going to do is, if anybody in the game, this is our little private little quirk here, there are shares in this game, and so in order to get money, oftentimes you're going to have to issue shares in your fishing company. So if you have purchased a share of my company at some point, what will happen is I'm going to say, hey, I owe you a fish for your share. I'm going to put a share on my fish. Then the rest of these are going to go into my reserve up here. And then anything I have that's on shares, I get to claim and keep and use this round.
Okay.
So it's going to take an action for me to actually get them out of the reserve over here, or as I get other shares from other players, of course, if I had other people's shares, I would be getting their fish as well. This all happens simultaneously.
Okay.
So after that, then it's pretty standard. I'm going to place workers. So I can pretty much run down this list here. Basic things are liquidize the reserve, grab my stuff out of there, and bring it over here.
Okay.
I can deforest or reforest. So deforest simply means I get to remove one of these tiles.
Okay.
And I get wood for it.
Sure.
I can thin out, which means I would get 1 wood for every tile, and this is actually doubled.
Oh,
so
okay.
I could get 1 wood for everything and not take anything off of there. Because when I take it off, I suddenly create some -1 spots that I'm going to have to fill with buildings. So I have to be careful about when I make my move on those trees.
Sure.
Or I can replant. If I've already deforested a bit, I can grab 2 forest tiles and put them back down and get some more wood going if need be. I can buy more boats. Boats cost some combination of wood, fish, or money.
Got it.
And of course, the bigger boats are worth more points and are also going to advance that track quicker in order to improve your fish harvest.
Got it.
More elders that I can hire, and buildings that I can build, again, using either money, fish, or wood in order to build them. We start the game with a group of A and B buildings that are out, and then basically at, I think it's round 4, we have a stack of C buildings that will actually go privately to people. But if you don't build them, at 6 they all go public and everyone can build what's left.
Interesting.
So
you got a little stab at them first.
A little mix of stuff, yeah. So it's really, the stock market piece is really kind of the interesting kind of conceit of this game. This idea that really the best and easiest way to make money in this game is for you to just issue shares, which will simply go on the board, and then as an action, someone can come here and you buy all the shares that are there at 1 gold apiece, and take them in, and now you're getting income from other people's boats as well as your own. There's only 5 shares, so it's not a huge stock market you're keeping track of, but it's just enough to be able to kind of be aware of, hey, I'm getting 6, but if I've issued 4 shares and they're out in other people's possessions, that's a lot of my a lot of my catch that's going out to other players.
Right.
7 rounds runs, a couple of hours, kind of typical of that. A little shorter and probably a simpler set of things than a lot of the Uwe games that you typically would encounter, but still has a lot of interesting decisions. The stock market piece really kind of adds a nice twist to it. Really cool game. It should be out in about the Essen time frame. Right now, we have sort of our general working art. This is not the final cover, but it's the final piece that'll be on there.
Okay.
Everything else is starting to take shape a little bit. So
number of players on this one?
2 to 4. 1 to 4.
players.
It's always got the solitaire option as well.
Sure. 1 to 4 players, couple of hours, a little lighter like you said, but a good amount going on, and lots of interesting sort of tactical choices I can already see at hand here. Very cool. Awesome. All right. So Essen, check this one out. Uwe's new hotness, of course.
Yes.
We're going to scoop this out of the way.
This is going to be really, really heartbreaking for my OCD-ness, but I'm going to scrape all this stuff. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wipe. Whoop, there we go.
That's right. All right, I'm going to help you by cracking this open
all right.
here.
Everybody wants to crack that open. So.
And we're going to take a look at Caverna, the Cave versus Cave 2-player version. Is that correct?
Indeed, yes. So this is Caverna, mostly in theme, although there'll certainly be some things that will be familiar to people that have played the game before.
That's that right there.
These are our action tiles. We'll throw a few of these out on here. So there is a lot of things to like about this game from a game perspective.
Okay.
And probably a little later I'll talk about why I love this game so much from sort of a professional game editor position, because there's some really clever things in here that I think designers could learn some interesting lessons from. But for the time being, what we need to do is I would like to just find all the ones that have this kind of rock back and cover your board except for that spot with those.
Cool.
So just put them down randomly any old way you find.
Oh, this game's easy.
Yeah. And the first person to put them all down wins. Oh, I kid. I joke. I joke. I'm a joker.
There's another one over there. And
all right. And these rubble ones will simply go face up in the center over here.
All right. So I'm missing a couple
here. You've got most of the board
okay.
there set up, so we can probably just work with those. But
that works.
Anyway. So in this game, we are once again the ubiquitous dwarves, trying to build our ubiquitous rooms that look very nice and can score us points. At the end of the game, the winner will have the most victory points from their rooms, which are shown on our room tiles here, and also add up our gold. There are 6 resources in this game. All right, OCD is now complete. Done.
Good. Feel better?
So, 6 resources in the game. We have 2 building materials, which are wood and stone.
Okay.
And then 4 other basically food-style materials. We have gold, which isn't really food, but you can use it to buy food, which is good. Flax, emmer, which is an ancient form of wheat.
Okay.
And food. So those are your 6 resources in the game, 2 building and 2 otherwise. We have some room, we have some walls as well. We have a start player tile, we'll just hand that over there to you.
Cool.
And our other stuff is going to start on 1. Now you're limited by this track as far as how many resources you get. Max is 9, except for gold, which can wander up to 19.
Because you flip.
You can go to 19 by the end of the game.
Yep.
All right. In general, your pattern on the game is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
It's going to be take an action to either excavate, build something, or use the stuff you've built.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the game, you have 1 empty place where you can build something, and you have a room already furnished that you'll be able to get 1 free something if you trigger a room effect.
Okay.
These are potential rooms, and these basically show you how many victory points they're worth. They'll show you what they need to build, some combination of gold, wood, other building materials, wood, stone, or gold. This is a wall configuration. This is a required wall setup you need for the space in which you're going to put that room. So for example, right now we have this wall that goes all the way around the outside.
Okay.
I could not build this tunnel because I only have a wall here, and I need, by the diagram, a wall here and a wall opposite it.
Got it.
But I can build this one because I need a single wall, and I have a single wall in that orientation.
You can rotate
now
these
I can
freely?
rotate it once I prove that I can build it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I just build it in, and it can never be affected. I can even come back later and build a wall here. Doesn't matter once a room's up, a room's up.
Sure.
Right. So building a room is simply taking an action that lets me build a room, and in this case the cost is going to be 1 food per dwarf, and that's simply defined by where we are in the game. So right now, while we're in these actions here, it's 2 dwarves. I'm a little off here somehow. Anyway.
There we go.
There we go. Where are my 3s?
Yeah.
There, 2, 2, 2. Oh, actually, it's
Am I looking at the wrong side?
solitaire side. Woohoo! All right.
Gotcha.
There we go.
All right, so 2s.
That looks a lot better to my delicate sensibilities. All right. Live television, kids, nothing like it. Anyway, so an excavation action simply, or a build action simply means 1 per dwarf, which right now that cost is 2.
Yes.
That cost will go up to 3 later and up to 4 on the last round of the game.
Got it.
So it's a sliding scale for that. Additionally, I'm going to need to make more rooms, which are excavate actions, our little pickaxe. So if I took this action and I would just slide it off to say, hey, I've taken this action, each of us right now, because there are 2 dwarves, get 2 actions each round. So I take an action, you take an action, I take an action, you take an action, move on to the next round.
Okay.
This one lets me either excavate for free. I can excavate any orthogonal room. So I could excavate this one. Oh, it gives me free food. That's a handy thing. And this is one of the clever bits of the game. This excavated tile now goes into the center and becomes a furnished room that either of us can now build.
Okay.
So the room furnishings come into play through the excavation of our caves. These are totally random at the beginning of the game, so you have no idea what order they come in, or if you don't even excavate all of your cave, whether or not they're going to appear at all.
Sure.
So that provides a tremendous amount of replayability and variability in the way that a game runs out, in addition to having these randomized within the action setups that you see there.
Right.
So those are kind of your core actions. So excavate, build, and then once you've done that, you can take, for example, this action says take 2 wood, which would just move you up your wood.
Okay.
And take 1 of your room actions.
Got it.
So you just look at your board and say, I'm going to take that one. The slash that's on here is kind of an either or. So many of these things will let you do multiple things. So for example, get 2 grain, get 2 emmer, get 1 flax, take a room action, and I can do those in any order. So if I was taking a room action that required emmer, for example, I could do this, then do that, then come back and do that.
Sure.
In any order like that. And that's pretty much the way the game works. Every round will add a new action to the pool.
Okay.
Eventually you'll start taking 3 actions instead of 2, and you continue until that reach that last action at the end of the game. Most points between buildings and your gold.
And a little reminder here that gold is...
At the end of the game, gold is 1 point, is 1 victory point per gold. Mm-hmm. That also has a special action at the end. That action is a kind of nice one. It gives you a couple of free things to do, but you can only take that action if you have the most money. So there's a little bit of pressure to kind of, if that really is attracted to you, to make sure your bank is higher than your opponent's when you get to that final round of the game.
Gotcha.
So this is a game that what's really brilliant, just take a minute and gush at it from an editorial standpoint. So many of the UVA games that you would play, imagine Agricola. If you were teaching Agricola, you got to teach everything that is visible on the table, which is a tremendous number of buildings and rooms and actions and things, as well as 14 cards that are in your hand that are different from the 14 in my hand, and trying to make it, and that's a lot of information you've got to give to a new player before they can begin.
Yes.
Caverna removes the cards, but it's still a table full of stuff that you've got to cover. This game reduces that teaching set down to the actions that are visible just at the beginning of the game, the 6 buildings that are just visible at the beginning of the game, and everything else is introduced incrementally, so you can start having explained everything that's on the table in a very short period of time, and simply introduce the couple of extra rules and the new actions as they arrive in the game.
Okay.
So it makes it very easy to teach, it makes it very smart in the way that the variability works, that you still have all the variability of having a huge pile of tiles, but because of the way they are revealed and the way that they come in, it all ramps up really nicely.
Yeah.
So it's a really clever design for being able to include all of the types of paths and variability that you typically see in an UVA game in a much more compact mode in a 2-player game.
Yeah, interesting. How much does the game retail for?
$28, the same as all the other games in our Lookout 2-player
small
line.
line. Right. Now I know this was quite hot here a little earlier today. I saw the line you had.
Yep, we had 47 copies that went out in 20 minutes. Yes.
If you are here, they are definitely gone. When are these going to be available to everyone that couldn't get one today?
The good news is they're on a boat right now, so we expect to have them in stores.
Is the boat heading this way?
Yeah, it is headed this way.
Good,
It's not headed out the other way. So
okay, good.
We should have them in stores in about 4 weeks or so.
4 weeks. You can get your hands on the Caverna 2-player version, Cave versus Cave. Awesome. Thanks for giving me a look at it.
My pleasure.
Very cool.
All right, how you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Good to see you, good to see you. All right, so are we on? No, we're not. Not yet? Yes, we are? Hey. Well, thanks for coming over and showing us some stuff. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. So let's go to, let's hit this one first. Is release say for Iron Dragon still June 30th?
6:30 is going to be a little slidey. We have a lot of that stuff at press right now, but I'm supposed to finish the rules here in the next few days, and Origins is not helping matters.
Yeah, really.
It's a lot of it is at press right now. So our boards, our cards, a lot of that stuff is in there and ready to go. So it's not going to be 6:30, but it's going to be well before Gen Con. If all goes well, knock on wood, please don't let me have jinxed that.
Now to clarify, finishing the rules, you're talking about like tidbits, editing, small
stuff. I have to throw in like the special thanks, a couple of illustrations we're still tweaking, so it's nothing. It's not like we're coming up with new rules. This is a reprint.
That's just what I wanted to say.
We're not rechanging everything, guys. This is just this is Iron Dragon. You know the game. Obviously, the cards have been rebalanced, but otherwise, it's the same names. All of that stuff is going to look very familiar to people that have the original edition. So.
Okay. Now, talking about, I'm assuming this is talking about Cave versus Cave. How heavy is it compared to Caverna?
Yeah, it's a lot lighter. It's a 30 to 45 minute game.
Okay.
The engine, like I said, is more thematically linked to Caverna than the other one.
Okay.
It's, than the big game.
Right.
It's lighter, but it's really designed to be lighter. It's really the Lookout 2-player line. If you think about the other things that are in there, we're not trying for that massive game. Like even Oh My Goods is a great example of there's a little game with a lot of gameplay in it. So on the Lookout side, we're aiming for something that's going to be at least aimed a little more towards broad market German market, maybe not broad market US necessarily. Okay. So, it's lighter than Caverna. It's certainly going to be shorter than Caverna, but I think it's an engaging game, and certainly for the people that are like the Patchwork crowd or even like the Trombone crowd, it's going to fit that niche pretty well.
That's a good grouping. Okay, a lot of people are asking about an expansion for Colonists. Is that in the works?
Yes,
that in the pipe?
That is absolutely being worked on right now.
Okay.
And there's evidence of that, of course, on Board Game Geek, because you've got a couple of interviews about whether you really want zombies mixed up in your colonists. I voted no, please. I voted no. Vote. Tell your friends. Vote twice. Do anything you can. I don't need. I've been avoiding them for 20 years, and here we are. Says the guy who works for Twilight Creations right now. So anyway, but having said that, the idea right now. And of course, all of this is subject to change, but it looks like right now we'll probably be adding 2 more eras. It's going to add some other elements. So like I said, some of the scenarios are going to introduce some elements that can kind of be worked in there. But for the people that want a little player conflict, you're going to see possibly that involved in the expansion, at least available, if not a mandatory thing.
Okay.
There's going to be some more traveling, so sort of island sea travel land kind of stuff may appear in that, but at its core, 2 more eras and the requisite buildings to make those 2 eras interesting.
Okay, I had a question here that's very specific about Origins. Is there a limited amount of copies per day, kind of like what people do at Gen Con, or are you guys just totally out?
We air flew them in as far on the Glass Road, and Cave vs. Cave in particular was basically what we got in, we put out, and they're gone.
Yeah.
So Glass Road we still have a few copies of. I think we're under 20 though. But on Cave vs. Cave we had 47 copies and we sold 47.
Gotcha. So. Okay, cool. Any plans on remaking any of the crayon rail type games?
Iron Dragon is really going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, right now We really hope that Iron Dragon's going to get out. I mean, it's the prettiest, certainly, of any of the games right now by far. I think a lot of people have a very fond spot towards the fantasy side of the crayon rail thing.
Yeah.
So we really want to see how this one does. If this one does really well, obviously we'd like to go back. It's an important part of our history, let alone our line, and. And the sky's the limit on that. We have an anniversary coming up. We don't really have anything planned necessarily for that, other than acknowledging the fact that it exists. It would be nice to kind of maybe do that. We've done a little bit of freshening on the line. Is it time to maybe get in there and rewire some stuff?
Okay.
It's all of those things are on the table. We really though want to make sure that people understand that A, we're committed to the crayon rails in general, and B, let's make Iron Dragon a success. Let's get that done, and then we'll go on.
And then we'll see what we go after that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. What are the age groups for Cave versus Cave?
I think on the box we say 8 and up. Let me dive under the table here.
Okay, go ahead. So he's diving.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
2 players. We're saying 12 and up. That feels a little aggressive to me.
Okay.
I think you've seen what's in there, and I would be surprised if a typical 10-year-old wouldn't be able to handle that without too much difficulty.
Okay.
So.
All right, that's cool. All right, now is Barron Park here?
Barron Park is here in reasonably large quantities. I don't know if it'll hold out all 4 days, but definitely, we've got our full shipment in. It's winging its way to stores right now, although I think what we got in our first shipment is pretty much out the door, so we have another one already on its way.
Yeah.
But definitely, and it didn't surprise us how well it was going to do, but it always kind of. There's a big breath that,
Right.
We sold out on Amazon, stores are getting them now, the reorders are looking good. So it should be readily available pretty widely, as well as here and stores as we move forward here.
Well, we do have one person saying that Colonist expansion equals this is your life now.
What's so amazing about the Colonists is that, there was several years of playing that game, and of course I've had the experience of playing it in the 8 era version.
Wow.
We want to see what 14 hours the Colonists look like, and there are some people out there right now that are going, "Oh my God, that sounds great," and some people are going, "I can't. I'm mad. I would slit my wrists."
People call me crazy for 6 hours of TI3, so I don't want to hear it anymore, people.
Yeah. Suck it up. But so it's so much fun to play full games of that.
Yeah.
And it's something I don't get to play. I haven't gotten to play very much of. I have played a lot of Era 1 in teaching the game, obviously, since it's been out.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be getting together with some friends down in Charlottesville in a couple of weeks, and we're going to get out. We're going to play all 4 eras enthusiastically.
Man.
For the people that love that game, and there's a lot to love about that game. The scenarios are going to be amazing for people that want to add these really interesting goals, new goals in the game. The expansion is going to give you that way of really just making it the true all-day experience.
Okay.
It should be a lot of fun.
There you go. All right, got one more question, and that is, for Cave versus Cave, are there additional cards that you don't use that will promote the replayability of it?
No, and it's something I really want to kind of drive home on this. The replayability of the game really comes from the use of the 18 room tiles that you randomize on the thing.
All right.
The fact that you don't know where they are, you don't know when they're going to appear, and in what order they're going to appear, and if the actions that arrive are going to support them. So, for example, a lot of the buildings have wall requirements that you're just not going to be able to do until you can build walls, which is possibly round 1, round 2, or round 3.
Okay.
So the package is really designed to be very tight and very focused on that, and gives you a lot of replayability without adding components. And like I said, I think it's a game that when I take off my promotion hat and I put on my editing hat, I really want designers to kind of look at this as a really cool, modern, current example of how you can add a tremendous amount of replayability with a smaller component set than people you just say, well, I'm just going to give you 60 tiles and draw 10 of them kind of thing. Now, having said that, though, some very clever, sharp eyes will note on the cover of Cave vs. Cave, on the first page of the rulebook, it says Era 1.
Easter egg. Hint much?
So.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
My pleasure.
Certainly appreciate it. And thank you guys for your questions.